Basketball season has officially came, man. So on today's show, I got somebody special. I met him a couple months ago in Atlanta. So I was going to say it's a big time honor to introduce you guys today on my show. So on today's show, he's known for his work as a TV broadcaster, producer, sports writer, and NBA insider. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to you guys, Brandon Sccop Robinson. Appreciate you taking the time to come on my podcast.
Brother, it's good to see you again. It's been a minute since the fireside chat at the Mercedes Superdome in Atlanta, and it's an honor to be on with you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. No problem. For sure, for sure. So before I get started on your journey, I would like to give you your flowers. I've been admiring you from afar from the minute. Been a big time fan. Like I said, big time honor meeting you a couple months ago. I really enjoyed you and Byron Davis' conversation. I met a lot, learned a lot about you guys that day. I still remember like it was yesterday.
Man, we keep going with this year as fast as it's going. Today's gonna feel like yesterday in a minute, but the fact that I was able to inspire and teach and learn, I feel like I did my job.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you did that, man. I give you an A++ for that, for
Thank
sure.
you, brother. Thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
So let me go ahead and get started on your journey. So, how did you get involved in being where you are today?
My journey actually started in my family's sneaker store and as well as men's shoe store in Harlem. Um, I was ringing a cash register, beginning at about 6 years old. We would have sneaker releases with, anywhere from Dominique Wilkins to Hakeem Olajuwon, Spud Webb, and other people. And I felt comfortable around athletes. And then, we'd have the Mike Tysons of the world, the Wayans brothers of the world that would shop in the store as well, the Dizzy Gillespie's, and that made me comfortable around celebrities. And then, my first big break came as a child. 12 years old, I had a radio show with the Nets when I was a kid called Net Slam and Planet. It was on New York radio for 2 years, and that introduced me to the sports world and in the media world as a professional. And that was just the start. Many years after, much schooling, much time, blood, sweat, and tears, and that's the short version of it. But really being around grassroots basketball in New York City, being around my uncle, who was a commissioner of a basketball league called Citywide, that kind of was also part of it. That kind of introduced me to New York City grassroots, whether that was, Kenny Anderson, Stephon Marbury, Rod Strickland, Bernard King, all those people coming out of that basketball circuit, as well as Drederik Irving, Kyrie Irving's dad, playing in that basketball league. So, for me, just being around the right place, right time, and having good mentors definitely propelled me in just the basketball space.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. So you came up in it like I already knew that you probably was gonna do big time things when you get up to that point.
Sort of, but I had to work. That's the
Yeah.
part that I think people can see the glitz and the glamour. You look in the water, right? For example, and you see a duck floating in the water, but you don't know how hard the duck has to kick in order to stay afloat and keep kicking and keep moving. And I could definitely say that was my story. While I had a great start, there were some trials and tribulations getting out of college and grad school and living in my grandmother's basement and freelancing at about 10 to 12 different publications. Having a double door fridge, the fridge side not working, the freezer side working as a refrigerator, being on food stamps, adjunct professoring at a couple different schools. Some
Yeah.
of that stuff I shared with folks while we were in Atlanta, but really and truly, there's a great glitz and glam story, but there's also the school of hard knocks of trying to figure everything out and make everything stick.
Okay. So are you born in Harlem? You born in Harlem?
I was born in Newark, New Jersey. My parents divorced when I was 3.
Okay.
My mom is from Harlem. My dad is from Jersey City, New Jersey, and so they divorced. My father wasn't in my life till I was about 16. So
Yeah.
I split a lot of my time in New York with my mother's family.
Okay. I've been in New York twice in my life. Only two
Really?
times, twice. Yeah.
Okay.
Interested down there. I like Times Square. I was like, when I first time I went to Times Square, I said, look just like you do on the movies.
So I'm guessing you're thinking of Home Alone
Yeah.
and what else?
It's some other Home Alone. Was Spider Man wasn't made out there. Batman, was it? Gotham City.
Um, Well, Gotham City is New York, or they just call it they call it Gotham City. But Some of Batman was filmed in New York, and more of the recent the more recent movies were actually filmed in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
But you have a Manhattan feel in parts of uh, Newark when you look at the movie. So I see their logic there. But no, I see where you're going with wavelengths and stuff like that. I definitely think that New York is definitely a place that has its opportunity. Los Angeles, for me professionally, has definitely been a blessing to me over the course of my career. I'll say since 2018, I've really
Yes.
taken to LA and have used my experiences being at home in the bright lights in the big city of Los Angeles as well.
Oh, okay, I understand that. So,
Mhm.
moving on. So, who would you say like inspired you, motivated you the most on your journey?
Um, my late mom for sure. She saw my talent early and put me in the right positions to succeed and to elevate. Whether that was putting me in public speaking groups, whether it was finding my talents early, and kind of honing in on them, liking to talk, obsession with basketball.
Yeah.
I'll say, from afar, my mom had me watching 60 Minutes, and Ed Bradley was someone on 60 Minutes that I took a liking to. His style, his delivery, and more. And then just people that I've seen in the media space. Barbara Walters, I love the way she asks questions, as well as um, Angie Martinez, radio
Yeah.
legend, the way that she builds comfortability with her guests. So those are some of the people that inspire me.
Oh, okay, that's nice. I see. This brings me to another question. So, did you ever like play in high school or anything? Did you ever play any kind of sport or anything?
No, but all my friends were 6 feet and 7 feet tall. So I've always been, I take that logic from being in the family shoe business to high school. I went to a prep school that, produces a lot of football stars, would be, draft picks, as well as baseball and basketball was pretty competitive as well. The number one high school player in the country last season, Dylan Harper, son of Ron Harper, went to my high school. So I didn't play, but I was always in the right place, right time, and I always knew early that this is what I was going to be doing.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like me, man. Big time sports fan. Never played anything, just like talking about it. That's
There you go.
type of person I am. Yes,
I
sir.
like
So,
it.
away from sports, outside of sports, what do you like to do when you're not engaging in the sports?
I like to sleep.
Yeah.
I like to sleep. I like to go to the movies. I went to go see the Pharrell movie the other day, and I was inspired by just his journey, and some of it that resonated with me. The belief that your grandparents had in you to push you, the belief that your parents had in you and push you, and just being creative. I think that is a blessing, and to be able to tell that story in Lego form, I think is ingenious and so Pharrell. I like to play video games. I
Yeah.
like to travel. I enjoy traveling, and I like to cook and try new restaurants as well.
Okay. What type of video games you be playing? 2K?
I like, of course, 2K,
Yeah.
NFL games, whether that be college football, whether that be Madden, and there's a couple of shooting games that I've been my cousin Damari put me on, that
Yeah.
I've been kind of trying out too. So I did a lot of that during the summertime. During the summertime, I was on the road a lot. I was between LA, Atlanta, North Carolina, and Atlanta and DC over the summer. And so when I was home, I was definitely enjoying kicking back and playing video games, and in between that, enjoying the Ruby Tuesday salad bar. That's one of my guilty pleasures. Going to Ruby Tuesdays and enjoying the salad bar. But
Uh,
nah, video games are definitely cool for me.
okay. Oh yeah, yeah, we got to play 2K for the one time.
Let's
One
do
time.
it.
You got PlayStation 5, Xbox
PS5 all
One,
day.
PS5.
PS5,
Okay, yeah,
PS5.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Come on
get your
now.
gaming tag after we get off this
Come,
live.
come, come, come on down. Come on down.
Oh, okay,
Come
yeah,
on
yeah,
down.
yeah,
We,
yeah,
we,
yeah.
we gotta get that right.
Who you play with? Who you usually be playing with on there?
On 2K,
Yeah,
I like the Pelicans.
Pelicans. So that brings me to my another question I was gonna ask. Who do you have a favorite NBA team? Who was you
Growing,
growing up?
growing up, growing up. I like the Bulls.
Okay.
Michael. I mean, I like the other day. I show you in my doctor's office visit. I put it. I
Yeah.
had the whole. I had the whole. I had the whole. I had the shorts. I had the. I had.
Okay.
I had the. I had the. I had. I had the. I had the Bulls top to go with
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
So growing up, I liked the Bulls, but I think as you get older, you tend to like players more.
Yeah.
Um, so I enjoy watching LeBron's game. I enjoy watching Kyrie's game. You get older, you tend to build rapport and relationship with certain players.
Yeah.
I think over the last 15, 20 years, I've enjoyed watching Carmelo Anthony and his game. You see, there's a signed Melo jersey in the back in the
Yeah.
background. Um, I think for me, I like players. But I think you for me, I'm glad to see the Knicks do well. I was glad
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
that moment where the Nets were doing well. The Nets gave me my first big break as a kid. But I enjoyed watching the new crop of players, whether that's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. You travel to these different cities, you're in these arenas, you get to know players. I enjoy seeing the young group of talent. Minnesota is doing well.
Yeah.
Just different players, different teams for different reasons. But growing up, I did like the Bulls.
Okay. So like before you got to where you at, did you go to a lot of NBA games growing up, coming up?
I
You
did.
went to a lot of.
I did. My childhood, the Nets would give me tickets to every home game when I was a kid. So if I didn't go out, I'd give them to different family members if I couldn't attend because I had school. Spent time in the locker room a lot as a kid, whether
Yeah.
that's spending time with the late Dikembe Mutombo, whether that was spending time with Grant Hill, Tim Duncan early in his career, Karl Malone, Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant, Allen Houston, all those people. So there's something there. And even when I was like in college and stuff like that, I'd still go to games, bring some of my friends, whether that was I went to college in the Philly area, so go to Sixers games, still coming home and going to Nets games when I needed to and things of that sort. So always been attached to the game. I'm about, I think at this point, both personally and professionally, 9 arenas short of visiting all 30 teams' arenas.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, that's nice. So that brings
Hmm.
me to another question. So I know you like you got to where you at like before you became where you at now. Like, did you ever get starstruck? Anything when you met what I'm saying, like somebody big time famous as
Um,
a kid?
Probably only one person, Jay-Z. I've been around Jay
Oh
a
yeah.
few times. Um, but I've sat courtside at games as a fan and sat with certain people, and there's a picture that's floated around with me, myself and Rihanna, her eating
Yeah.
a mozzarella stick, or no, it was a Nathan's French fry. That was a pretty cool
Yeah.
moment, and I've seen her at parties since and been around her, and it's always
Okay.
love,
Yeah.
hugs, kisses, house to family. So I mean, I've been blessed to be around a lot of influential people
Yeah.
and to use my power for good.
Yeah. Hopefully one day, because I always dreamed about going to a New York Knicks game. I never got a chance to go to. So hopefully this year I could probably try to make a Knicks game because I've heard a lot of stories about the Garden Center. So I want to see the atmosphere. So I'm gonna try to get up there, man. One
The
of these.
Garden is cool. The
Yes,
Garden is
sir.
cool. I was blessed to maybe about 6 years ago. I coached a fan experience with some season ticket holders where I was the guest coach for a
Yeah.
team that was competing at Madison Square Garden, and that was a wonderful experience. I'm grateful for it. My dude Anthony Donahue had invited me to go to that, and it was an awesome opportunity. So being around New York and working in media and television, it's definitely been a blessing and it has had some advantages. And I think for you, going to the Garden and then experiencing that, I think you'll have something to tell stories about for years to come.
Okay, yes, sir. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, about your journey. So, have you feel like you accomplished all the things that you felt like you wanted to accomplish in your career so far, or you still feel
I'm a
like
work.
it's more stuff left?
I'm a work in progress. I'm still going and I'm having fun. But you know, I'm thankful to before the age of 40 have traveled a bunch and seen a lot and also been able to help people and live my dream. Everybody doesn't have that blessing and are able to do so. I'm thankful that I am.
Yeah. Okay. Who is your favorite athlete that you have covered, or is it someone that you haven't covered yet that you like to cover?
LeBron, uh, um, Michael. I was around Michael when I was a kid. I was around Allen Iverson when I was a kid and as an adult. Um, Anthony Davis and I have a very good rapport.
That's some big names right there.
Um, yeah, I've been around. I think I, I mean pretty much the top 20 or 30 stars I've profiled, I've interviewed, and I've been around, and have been at parties with them for various things as well. So I'm blessed, and I'm continuing to go.
Okay, yeah, yeah. The only way is up from here. Yes,
That
sir.
part.
So would you say feel like is the most challenging part of your job?
Um, just the way the industry is going right now, you can have all the experience in the world, and it's just this big cluster right now of just what's going on. I'm blessed. I was laid off a year and some change ago from Bally Sports and was there for 2.5 years, and now I'm my own media and production company. So things are still moving in that direction. Whether that's curating content, still being still going to games, still working in different facets, seen and unseen. So for me, I'm still working, but I think just I'm excited for the next TV deal and where that will take myself and a lot of my other colleagues and being able to move and groove that way.
Okay. I'm looking forward to checking it out. Like I said, I've watched a few your school radio. Yeah. I'll be checking it out, be checking out all your stuff, man. It's like I
Thank you,
said, been a
brother.
big time fan for you from afar.
Thank you so much for real. Please keep supporting, and I hope to continue to support you and watch your journey also.
Yes, sir. It means a lot. Yes, sir. So my next question is like what would you say probably has been your favorite moment of your career so far?
Mm, um,
I
I
know
think
you
for
got a lot of
me, no, I think my mom passed 2 years ago,
okay.
and we worked hard to get to the point where we were, and I think for me, her being able to see some of the things that come to fruition before she closed her eyes, signing with
Yeah.
the national television network, partnerships with Spotify in the past, and you know partnerships with a sports betting company, and her going to the doctor's office when she was sick, and her a report that I had put out about Kyrie Irving, and her doctor knowing hearing about it, and her being able to brag and tell that was her son, like stuff like that. It matters, but
Yeah.
also her seeing me grow up to be a man and be successful and be independent and just really put people in positions if I can to help and through my labor of work and her planting that seed early on. I think that's something that I'm forever grateful and appreciative of and will continue to grow and shine in that regard.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. That's a nice, definitely legendary moment right there for sure. I mean, like,
Yes,
so
sir.
was she a big time? She was a sports fan too, basketball fan.
um she liked basketball. My biological father was a Lakers fan, and I was born during the NBA Finals back in 1985.
Oh
And
wow.
my dad liked the Cowboys and liked the Lakers, so she liked them. And then when they divorced, she hated them. So my father played college football, and so she was around football because of him. And then, you know, um, I took a liking to basketball, and so naturally because I was around it, she paid attention to all the storylines and things that were going on too.
Okay, I guess I understand. So speaking of football, did you have a favorite football team growing up? I know I asked you about your basketball team, but what about football?
Growing up, I liked both the Cowboys and the Jets.
You had to say them Cowboys, man. I'm an Eagles fan, so I had to mess with you on that.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't dislike the Eagles. I went to college in the Philly area, so I was very keen
Okay,
on that team and watched them play in the Super Bowl. And know a few guys on that team that went to the Super Bowl in 2004, and I know a couple people that were on that Super Bowl team that won in 2018. So I kind of like as a kid grew up watching the Cowboys because it was cool to like the Cowboys because you had Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman. It was cool when
yeah,
Dion became a Cowboy, but I never really got into the you like this so you can't sit at the table. I liked Randall Cunningham. I liked
okay,
Rodney Pete.
yeah,
So nah, I think Cowboys are cool by me. So
yeah.
are the Eagles.
Nah, yeah, they cool. Yeah, yeah, they cool. Like, I've been blessed and favored to interview a couple Cowboy players on my podcast. Like, from a
For real?
podcast, I would love to have them on for sure. It's still just sports. Just having fun,
Who'd
learning
you
some
have
different.
on?
I just had Andre Gerard on my podcast. I
Nice.
had him and I had Ken Hamlin so far. That's what I've
Awesome.
had so far.
That's lit.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So,
Hmm.
so let's get into some basketball talk. So, basketball season is officially here. So, who would you might feel like might be a sneaky team, surprise team that probably feel like a lot of people not talking about who might be a surprise team this year that might make a run?
Um, Out west, probably the if not the Timberwolves and the Thunder. Um, I think that the Grizzlies. I like the
Yeah,
play of Zach Edey. John Morant has been in and out of the game for a minute for personal reasons and injuries, and
yeah,
that's why I like out west. But as far as teams that just stand out to me right away in the West, it's got to be Oklahoma, particularly because they added their point guard and Caruso in as a role player. I think he complements Lou Dort well defensively. I think Isaiah Hartenstein leaving the Knicks and coming to Oklahoma was definitely uh, a smart move on his behalf because I think they beefed up both defensively, size wise. Chet Holmgren can't hold down the fort by himself. And I think Minnesota got better by adding Julius Randle because Naz Reid comes in and he can shine. And Julius Randle has to have the ball in his hand a lot in order to be a playmaker, a secondary playmaker in Minnesota's position, playing alongside their point guard. And I think the difference between playing in New York versus playing in Minnesota is you know Jalen Brunson is less ball dominant, which kind of counteracts what Randall's able to do. I've always looked at him as a blue collar LeBron James, as a playmaker, as a scorer, and as a
yeah.
shooter. And out east, I think when you look at the Boston Celtics to repeat, I don't think that's far fetched, but I think it's going to come down to how healthy Porzingis is. And it's very hard to repeat as a champion in the NBA. The Knicks are obviously something that everybody would like to see, but I still think they're missing something, but I think they're off to something great, and they have to be healthy all season. I think the
Yeah.
Philadelphia 76ers are probably the only other team out east besides the Knicks that I think can contend in the East with the reigning world champions, the Boston Celtics.
Okay. Have you so going back, this is another question I wanted to ask you. So you said, you know how you said you was born in the NBA finals, like around the NBA finals time. Have you got the experience like an NBA finals game before?
Yeah, I covered the 22 finals between the Celtics and the Warriors. I was between San Francisco and Boston the whole series.
Okay, okay, okay. Oh yeah, yeah. So how was that moment? Real cool experience.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. I'm grateful. I'll never forget that was my first and only NBA Finals experience, and if I never go back again, that's cool. But it was cool. I had a pre-existing relationship with Jaylen Brown of the Celtics, and on the Warriors side, Kevon Looney is a guy that I'm cool with. I'm cool with Draymond Green, Steph Curry as well. So it was definitely cool to experience that. And traveling back and forth, it was tiring at times. Going between because you're going so far east and so far west to do
Yeah.
what you need to do, but it was an awesome experience, and I'm glad to have had it.
Okay. Oh yeah. So let's go ahead and get into a trade. So a big trade happened last week. Karl Anthony Towns gets traded from the Timberwolves to the New York Knicks. So how do you feel like that might fit for the New York Knicks?
Pick and roll, screen and roll is great for them. It kind of it frees up Towns to command double teams on the perimeter as well as in the post, and kick it to the open man. That system for him is a cakewalk because I don't even want to say cakewalk. It's designed for him because he's so tall. He's like a center with three, 4, and 5 man capabilities, and he can stretch the floor in that way, in a way that traditional big man in the 90s and the 2000s wouldn't necessarily do so. But also, it opens up the lane for more 3-point shooting for a lot of people on that squad. So I think it's great. I think there's a familiarity with Tibbs during his time in Minnesota, and being from Piscataway, New Jersey, about a 45-minute drive from or to New York City. He's home, so to speak, and he's comfortable. But again, the regular season is very different than the playoffs, and I'm hopeful that the Knicks can figure something out. They have a couple years in that system to try to figure that out, and I hope the best for Karl and as well as Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I know my best friend. He a New York Knicks fan, so he was excited about that, man. So
Mhm.
moving on. So I want to ask you this. So what advice can you give me like to grow my podcast channel? What advice can you give me on my journey?
Add a writing component to what you do, because if video were to die today, if YouTube were to die today, what would you have to show for it in Google Analytics? You want to make sure that you document and that the words stand the test of time. I think that you should make yourself more present at events if you can. Find events that are locally and write about them. And I think also that if you're looking to get into this field for and further your career in this field, start locally, whether that's, covering local events for the local paper and building your clips up so that you can pitch to bigger publications and make your mark, and which would include freelancing. And then, just keep going. And the more you stay consistent, your talent will make room for you.
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, I like that, man. So the last question I got before I close this podcast, I got to put you on the spot. Who is your GOAT? Who is the NBA GOAT? Who is your GOAT in the NBA?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. I had a feeling he was gonna say that when I said, okay, he gonna say Michael Jordan, so I knew
I
it.
mean, I think that's a very subjective question. Me, I grew up watching Michael's prime, and I watched
Yeah,
him post career do a lot. And but for somebody who's 28, 26, Michael, they may remember Michael as a wizard, or they might not remember Michael at all. And so Kobe is their version of Michael Jordan. And then
yeah,
I think when you look at LeBron, LeBron is the bridge between those guys. But let's not be mistaken. I think unfortunately the untimely death of Kobe Bryant makes that argument, a fan's argument, so much more greater because Kobe's not here to defend himself.
yeah,
But I do think that for Kobe, um, I think he's the closest thing that we've seen to Michael. I
yeah,
think he was a better 3-point shooter and slightly a better defender, but in every other department, Michael was more marketable in a
yeah,
way that LeBron is marketable. And I think sometimes when we look back at our childhood and we don't have any, we have biases to what we enjoyed when things were simpler. And so, Michael was what I enjoyed watching, but I enjoyed watching Kobe and I enjoyed watching LeBron as well. And I think, it's a fan argument, but growing up, that's who I enjoyed watching, Michael Jordan.
yeah. See, that's what I said. See, I like to ask people who was to go, like the people who actually got to see Michael Jordan in his prime. See, I didn't get to see Michael Jordan in his prime because that was before my time. So that's why I
Sure.
like to ask people who actually saw both eras. Like you saw it from the beginning. You saw Michael Jordan from the beginning. You saw Kobe from the beginning. You saw LeBron from the beginning. So you could, people like y'all can make a better assumption on who you feel like is the GOAT.
I think it's a subjective conversation, but
Yeah,
I've been in the locker room with all three. I've watched all three live. I've interacted with all three, and I think they're special people. And I think there is such a thing. I had this conversation with Kyle Kuzma some years ago. Actually, it was the day before Kobe Bryant died. It was
yeah,
the game in which LeBron had broken Kobe's scoring record in Philadelphia. I was in the locker room with Kuzma, and he said to me, I enjoyed watching all three, and I don't feel like we should have to make a decision on who's the best. And we should appreciate these guys for where they're here because they're not here forever.
yeah.
And it's funny because I ran into him a month ago. We were at a gifting suite, and I was like, yo, I went back and I read those quotes. He said, yo, that's crazy, right? I said, yeah. He's like,
Mm.
man, you really do have to appreciate your ghosts while you have them.
Yeah. See, going back to what you said, Kyle Kuzma said. See, that's what I be saying about LeBron. You know how LeBron James get all this flag, because everybody hate him and dislike him for whatever reason. But I be trying to tell people, man, hey, we gonna miss LeBron when he retires. So I be like, let's enjoy his greatness now, because we might not get another
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James ever again. I don't know, but I don't. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, LeBron is. I be just trying to tell people, man, win his greatness, man. We don't need to be, hey, just enjoy ball. That's how I look at it.
I'm with you, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, like I said, appreciate you taking the time to come on my podcast. It really means a lot. It's an honor to do this with you today.
Thank you for the opportunity to be myself.
Yes, sir, for sure, for sure. But if you guys like, oh yeah, I need to get your gamer tag, man, so we can go and play 2K. You play NCAA? You be on
I
NCAA?
have it. I downloaded it. I've been so busy I haven't played it yet. But with October coming to a close soon, and November approaching, I'll have a little bit more free time, and
Oh yeah,
I
because
will
I know you about to be
definitely be
doing a lot of
locked in.
working, right?
Yes and no. I think once you're in a segmented schedule, you can kind of look at the schedule and say, okay, kind of like the summertime. Like the summertime, I was traveling, but when I had downtime, I'd have like a block of time where I'm just home and I'm getting stuff done. And so once I get into a groove and once the excitement of the season starts, it's back into kind of a lull. You know when you got to be on and when you have your downtime.
Okay, I feel you. But like I said, man, if you guys like today's video with Brandon Sccop B Robinson, make sure you guys like subscribe to D Hop Talking Shop podcast.